Podcast number 0, pilot, Beyond the Void prototype, beginning of Azzapp podcast with Neace. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Azzapp. Azzapp. Triple Challenger. And yeah. Enjoy this episode with Neace. Hello, hello.
Yo, what up, man? How you doing?
Yo, what's up? Good to talk to you.
Yeah, same. Let me pause my music here.
Yeah, I just did as well.
I feel like I should chat with you anyways because I'm just playing against bots right now, and I'm not talking.
Yeah,
I'm talking like.
We can fill in the time. Your mic is cutting out a little bit. I don't know if it's like the pickup thing.
It's cutting out. That sounds weird. That shouldn't be. It should never be cutting out.
Okay, now it didn't.
Well, yeah, it shouldn't be. I mean, I'm in Korea right now, so you know, it might be buggy sometimes, but it should never be cutting out.
Yeah. So you're leveling a Korean account?
Yeah. Because I'm gonna do when I'm not coaching, I'm gonna do a climb.
That's sick. Okay. I'm excited about that one. I think now's the perfect chance to kind of take this newfound popularity in the mainstream. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna mute my alerts so we can do this. Brilliant. Hey, thanks for agreeing to talk with this. It's I thought it was a very interesting situation. This whole shebang that happened with you.
Why?
It's just it's a weird case where there's so many aspects of it, and I kind of wanted to gaze on what your opinion is on whole this thing, like how it started, where it went, and like how much of this would be constituted as like this just Twitter being like the Twitter just being Twitter, like the snowball of opinion, like this mob mentality idea, and how much is genuine criticism. So I think it's just interesting. Yeah.
So no, it's good. Basically where it started was, and I'm trying to make it a point to not highlight content creators specifically because I feel like that's kind of what they want right now. I don't want to really give them too much air, but basically it started by certain content creators going really far out of their way to run my coachings. Well, actually, it technically started with a content creator accusing me of scamming somebody because they missed the session, right? So they had a session booked. Okay. They missed it. And it says on my site, like, if you miss it, I'm not refunding you. Like, I can just choose to not refund you. Like, you agree to this, right? There's like a checkbox. And the guy missed his session, and I didn't refund him. And then months later,
that's how the whole Tarzan thing started, yeah?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, I did a bit of research, like trying to figure out how far back this goes, like when it got to mainstream, yeah.
Right. So essentially, what happened was, I was just like, well, I'm not refunding him because, you know, if I refund this guy, then it sets a precedent, right? Any content creator could then go and bash you on social media, right? And then now you are pressured to just refund people just because, right? So I'm not. It's like I don't negotiate with terrorists type of situation.
Taking a stand on something, hard stance, so you're immovable on that front, yeah.
Right. So basically, it gets to the point where if I don't say like no, right, then I can just be walked over. And the same, I mean, it's in any industry. Like if you don't show up for your fucking appointment, like people don't have to give you any money back. Like you're not. People get it confused, right? They think obviously, yes, I am sitting at my computer, and yes, if the guy doesn't show up, I could just play the game. But like, what if my day doesn't revolve around the game? What if like I took time, like I told my wife, like, hey, we can't hang out today. I can't go to this thing today because I have a coaching at this time and you don't show up for the coaching. Well, I don't get like, just because that time, like to somebody who doesn't take their profession seriously, that time doesn't look that valuable to them, right? But to me, it is, because I would have probably filled that slot with something else. I have other things I can do to make money. Like I'm working with, pretty soon I'm going to announce I'm working with a new app. Before that, I was doing the boot camp stuff. I managed 3 channels. Like I could be streaming the game myself. There's just so many different things that I could have been doing. right? It isn't just as simple as like, oh, you're at your computer anyways, so
Yeah, this sounds like a
whatever.
perfect introduction, like getting into like what you're all about. This is pretty cool. Yeah, like that's just a standard business decision. You can have your own like ideas how to do it, like maybe 20,
Right. You can
24
do
hour notice
50%.
and stuff like
You
that.
can,
Yeah,
right.
50%, just standard practice, honestly. I didn't think of that was a big deal when I saw it, but I guess that's how it whole started. Like the Tarzan got onto that, and it just fanned out of there.
Right. Yeah. And I was at the mindset of just like, well, this is so obvious. That's what I keep saying. It's like, well, this is so obvious jealousy, just being mad that you didn't monetize your shit or whatever. And I felt like anybody with a half a brain could see it for what it was, right? Like this is what it is. Like, no, it's not a mystery what he's doing, right? Obviously, you figure out like, oh, this guy who may or may not be as good or may or may not be as popular on certain platforms or whatever. This guy's making more than me, so I'm really mad about that, right? And I want to like tear him down to build myself up, which never works really. But I mean, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't just I would be lying if I said it isn't just annoying.
Okay, yeah, that was one of my questions that I had a list because I wrote some stuff down, just trying to.
Oh, okay. No, you're good.
Trying to go down the line here. Yeah, this is pretty cool, and I hope you don't mind. I might pry a little bit here and there, and I might take some hard stances from Twitter and like these accusations and stuff, because I asked people to give me some questions and stuff. So we're gonna just to get like the defense out of there on those like certain claims and stuff. So we can discuss stuff. Yeah, first most important thing that I thought. What is your favorite Neace coaching meme? Because I think those are the best thing that came out of this.
Meme? Yeah. I think the funniest ones to me, like definitely the Cadril one was pretty funny. I thought.
Was it the recall?
I also the one that had me. Yeah, the one that had me, and it was the Karisma one. It was like Kane starts Raptors or whatever. That's the one that's when I first saw it.
Nice.
And that's what it legitimately made me laugh. I was like, oh, that's what people are doing now. Okay.
Yeah, one morning I just woke up and my entire Twitter is just Neace memes. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, I figured you don't really mind the memes as a.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Good to clear that out. Nice. So okay. Second thing is the $350 for the pricing.
Right.
So how can we explain that? Let's explain to the audience like why would the price be that much?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty simple. So all that happens is I set a price at 100 to start. Back it up even further. I used to do $20 replay reviews.
Yeah,
like back in the day.
Everyone did, yeah.
Right, and so I used to do that, and then once I figured out that live coaching was kind of interesting and it showcased, basically live coaching gets a lot of flack. I noticed that it gets a lot of flack from Twitter as well, because they go, well, VOD reviews are better. And it's like, I don't know if that's necessarily always true. I think both have their spot. Like it's a tool, right? And I've specialized in live coaching.
Okay.
For me, live coaching was when I started doing those videos, that's when things really blew up, because people really like the decision making, like in the position of the client, right? And being able to direct where the game goes and show like, no, you need to do this right now. And I think most people that watch those live coachings, they see the decisions in real time and they go, oh, this guy knows what he should be doing. Right. And I think the proof was kind of in the pudding there, is that most clients would have lost if I wasn't in their ear. And then that kind of just snowballed itself. And then more people just wanted to be on YouTube and prove like, okay, I can follow instructions, right? Like I can do what this guy needs me to do and hopefully learn something in the process. And so that's when I made the coaching site. And then that's when everything started blowing up, because more and more people wanted in. And 100, at first I was like, oh, I love this, right? I was like, I get to coach all the time. This is great. I told Mary, I was like, oh, this is dope. I'm doing this all day. And then when
you're overrun.
When I actually, right. Well, it's not, well, it was like, I had 6 slots or 5 slots or something like that. And they were all like 100. And I just literally, there was no stopping. Like, imagine, and the comparison I use is like, okay, imagine you own a gym, right? But you're the only gym in the world.
Okay,
But you can only work with one person at a time. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I
you could raise the price theoretically as high as you wanted, because until they stop coming in, you could just raise it because you're the only gym. So as far as like content for newbies, sorry if I cut out, I'm like leaving League. As far as content for newbies goes, right? I was like the biggest one, the one that anybody that goes to, I still am. Like if you type in League of Legends coaching, like I'm going to show up everywhere.
Yeah,
right?
I think you're indexed pretty well on
just,
both Google and the website and
right.
YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm going to show up every time. So basically what happened was the prices got set pretty high, and where they are right now is they're probably just not going to come down. I'm probably just going to leave them here. And you know, if I'm being just direct and like brutally honest, like my wife's in the military, like I'm good. Like I don't have to move. I don't have to move my prices at all. I don't have to do anything other than what I'm doing, which is just make good content. If I'm not coaching, then I could be doing like right now, like I could be chatting with you. I could be leveling. I have other projects going on. So, I mean, that's the summary of how it got to this point. So it's a combination of, right place, right time. I'd like to, despite what my haters say, I'd like to think that I'm pretty good at, I saw your stream before we got in the call, actually. You said packaging it, right? Complicated game and packaging it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like
So,
you want to present a perspective to people to make them understand the game in a certain way. So information makes sense that they get.
Let me give you a cool example of something that happened to me growing up. I was at a party. Everybody was playing Halo. I was pretty good at Halo. I used to go to tournaments for Halo, right?
Okay.
Well, I was at this party. There was this guy who was not good at Halo. Okay. He was okay. Right. So these girls asked to play Halo, and they asked me, how do you play? And I nerded out on them. Right. I started like over talking. Yes. This is a true story.
Life opportunity.
This guy was like this big bald dude. Yeah. Yeah. This guy was like a bald. This kind of shaped my understanding of like how to coach. Actually, this small interaction. This dude was a big buff, like not buff, but he was just like a stocky, those like stocky dudes that are just like, that if they pushed you, you would just go flying somewhere.
Yeah, we grow over here in
bald
Bosnia.
dude with glasses, right? And he was from Brooklyn, right? So just imagine this big chunky dude from Brooklyn with bald head and like a little like a mustache and like glasses. And I'm talking too much, and he goes, "Mark, shut up!" And he like grabs a controller and he holds it at the girls, and he's like, "Listen." And you know how the left joystick and the right joystick are, right? For shooters by default, right? Yeah. He points the left joystick and he goes, "Hey, yo, this is your feet." And he points to the right joystick and he goes, "This is your eyes. Play the fucking game." And he like hands him the controller. And I'm just like, that was like the most quick and efficient.
Yeah.
That's the most quick and efficient explanation of playing a shooter. I could have spent years trying to come up with a simple way to say that.
Yeah, going into theory
and I probably would have never gotten to it. Right. So I was like, oh shit, this guy's a fucking genius. And so I realized that the real way to connect with people is to not flood them with a bunch of meaningless shit. Right? Just don't give them meaningless shit. They're gonna figure it out on their own, and they're gonna uncover it on their own. And really, if I'm being completely honest, of all the times that I've ever played high elo, there's so many little details that I really don't care. And I feel like most players just get into word salad.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I understand that. You got to find the proper resolution at which you're gonna showcase the game to the student. Like you need to know like what their understanding should be, and like you have probably most experience with that particular student, so you would probably be the best person to decide that. I mean, you're trained for that essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of how it started.
Okay, cool. I understand that. So the 350 part, it's just basically brand building with the supply and demand based economics. I understand that. Cool.
Right.
Glad we cleared it out. So I have two follow-up questions with that. So the one is, do you think the value of it is justified by the price? What people get out of it?
Well, I personally have said countless times on videos, I've said I would not pay for my own coaching.
Okay.
So like personally, I've played games my whole life. So to me, probably not worth it. Right. Now, if I was somebody who was, I always think about the people that don't have games growing up, or like just got a computer, or, you know, just things like that, where it's like this game is just overwhelming to them. Like maybe it is worth it to them. Like who the fuck am I to say whether or not it's worth to the individual themselves? And I guess that's what I'm trying to say is like, personally, I don't give a fuck what people do with their money. If I believed everything that everybody said about like, oh, Neace, you're not good enough, or this service isn't worth it. Like if I believe that, then I wouldn't have a job. So that's not really how I go about my day. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there has to be a dose
Like
of
I
confidence.
just go by,
Yeah.
right. Well, it's that, and it's just I always say the community sets the prices. If there wasn't that many people that wanted it, then I wouldn't be here. Like it's just it's an obvious conclusion when you really drill down into it. Why am I here then?
Yeah, I assumed as much, because that's a tough question where it's entirely relative to the person buying it, like whether it's worth for them. So yeah, cool, very very good answer. And the second part would be, what would be the upper limit of pricing? If you assume you have unlimited demand, you have people lining up forever. What would be the upper limit where you would say like, okay, this is the final price. I'm not gonna go above this no matter what.
Oh, there's no, dude, I'm trying to make money. Like, I'm not shy about it.
Okay.
Like, no, this isn't, okay, let's clear some other things up. Like, first of all, I obviously love talking about video games all day, right? It's literally what I do all day. So I have a love for this stuff. If anybody thinks that I got into this business being like, oh yeah, I can't wait to pay off my homes already, right?
Surely,
or like, oh,
yeah.
I can't wait to, right? Like, they'd be an idiot. Like, I would have been happy originally just doing this for, basically, you know what? I'm not going to call other streamers out. I'm not even trying to shame anybody when I say this. I'm just speaking reality. Like, there's so many streamers that are living like I would have been happy with, if that makes sense. Like the way that I'm talking through it, right? Like I can clearly see that they're just breaking even. I could see it. It's like I could see, I know their sub counts. I know, I know how many viewers they're getting. I look at their YouTube channel and I see the sponsorships. I'm not stupid. Like I've been here for a long time. Like I could see myself back then being happy with that. Well, now I'm here. Clearly there's more to this than meets the eye. I'm not going to sit here and fucking pretend like, oh, Neace, if you could raise the price to 500, would you do it or would you not do it to be nice? Like, no, like I'm trying to make money. That's why we're in this business. Like, who knows? Like tomorrow I could, the CEO of Riot Games could be found to have diddled a bunch of kids, and then the whole stock price of League of Legends goes down and goes under or something. You know what I mean? And then we don't have jobs.
Hits
like,
close to home, that one. There's
you know
a chance for
I mean?
that. Yeah. No, understand fully.
I'd like to think that you could very clearly see people go, oh, Neace yells at clients during coachings. Yeah, man, because I'm competitive. What the fuck? Like, of course, I want the client to do well. I mean, I want him to see, like, you got to put effort in on things. It doesn't nothing just falls in your lap, right? Like, do you really think that if I was just getting a paycheck and, like, fucking sitting there, like, do you really think that, like, I wouldn't be upset at the client or at the way that they're taking the coaching or whatever? Like if I didn't care, like of course I care, but at the same time, I'm not fucking running a charity either.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. I had people like doing a devil's advocate earlier in my chat and talking about what would be like an immoral pricing for coaching or something like that, and I had a similar response there because you have basically no prior history of advertising or like pushing yourself as a character for like some sort of socialist cause or like trying to spread this stuff. So yeah, like you can't really pull off a judgment of character based on just business, right?
Right. I mean, it's just silly. It's fucking stupid.
Okay, yeah, very cool. So we're gonna keep with the difficult questions. Like honestly here, would you say that you're happy this controversy happened? Because obviously there's no bad publicity very often, and that can be sometimes true. But I imagine you're definitely gonna get more traction in coachings after this drama. But do you think it's kind of worth like the stress and mental effort and yeah?
So initially, if you go back through my Twitter stuff, like I could be very, very honest because I'm not like ashamed of it. If you go back through my Twitter history, and you'll see that like initially I was pretty offended by what people were saying.
Okay.
And I thought about getting off of social media, and then I just kind of did some soul searching a bit and thinking about it, and I was like, wait a minute. First of all, bro, like your life is set. Like I can do with where I'm at right now, like I'm good. I don't need to make a ton of money to sustain, right? And I was like, why do I care what these people that clearly wish they were in this position, like why do I care what they think? So I went back to the drawing board. I thought about it and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make fun of this stuff now, because now I realize, like after I really just stopped and thought about it, I was like, no, this is a good thing. Actually, I'm kind of glad that they did this, because I think in time they will look really stupid. They'll look stupid because a lot of people obviously think I'm bad at the game and couldn't play it if I wanted. So they're going to look stupid when I climb to high elo in Korea, first of all. And then second of all, they're just going to look petty in general. Like, oh, dude, how'd your content grow? Well, basically, I flamed Neace's coaching. Like
yeah,
that's
okay.
your, that's
so letting them show
legacy,
themselves,
right?
yeah.
Like,
that does the
right. Like
strategy.
that's really you. So your content exists off the back of me. Like that never holds up. That's not a recipe for success in life. It never is. Right? Like it just never is. It never works. Like I've tried to be, I've been jealous of other content creators before. Like it never makes you bigger. Maybe it does in the short term, but everybody knows what you are.
Yeah, true.
Right?
I
Everybody
guess
knows you're just lazy and don't work.
You gotta channel that into positive ways, I guess, and use it as a source of motivation or something.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Cool. So, okay, I've noticed you shifted the pattern of responding to these. You've entered the Super Saiyan caps lock mode, and you just perma caps lock the tweets.
Right.
So, do you think like being a little bit defensive and aggressive in these, like the more you're like fighting into it, do you think that's beneficial to you? Do you think like that's better approach, or is it better to just let your content quality speak for itself and continuing your own thing, like while letting them bounce off, or try to like attack them head on with the caps lock?
I think for me, like I said, I'm still competitive. I think people legitimately think that I am like a casual content creator or something. Like I've seen some funny things where people assume that like I'm so bad that I'm like stuck diamond or some shit. Like like I've seen these types of this type of messaging going around, and I cannot help myself but be a little bit competitive with these people and mock them a bit. And honestly, if I'm writing in caps, I don't know if you remember the reason what started this, but there was this happens a lot, and I noticed the EUS scene. Obviously, you're fucking reaching out to me, and you're just having like a real like in-person conversation, which is more than most do, right? But I noticed the EUS scene in particular, for some fucking reason, is the one where they seem to be the ones that are the most offended. Like, in comparison to NA, like this one dude, I don't even know his name. This one dude like posted the TikTok of me yelling at a client of like out of 1,000 coaching sessions, like yelling at a client pretty bad. Like that was probably one of the worst ones, but like it was fine. Like even that one in hindsight was fine. So what started, like, that guy did that, and then there was an article on it was like .esports or whatever, and I was like, you know what, since everybody thinks I just yell at people on Twitter, I'm just going to yell at people only.
Okay, so you shifted
like,
the pattern.
that's what prompted it.
Yeah,
right, because I just thought it'd be funny. Like I still think it's hilarious, and now I enjoy Twitter a lot more because now I just have fun with it, because I was taking it too seriously. I was taking the thing is and this is true. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Twitter people are fucking morons, man. I think the comment hierarchy.
Like the brand one, build a brand. Oh, that one just broke me.
Right. So you have to have fun with it, because if you don't, like, you think like you want to, and I had this problem when I used to play all the time too. Like you want to assume that everybody has the same goals as you. So like say you play League, right? And you're really trying hard to win. Like if you get mad and try to steer people in the right direction and you say, dude, you need to do this. Like if someone yells at me in game and they are like destroying, like hard carrying, like I might be offended, but I'm probably going to listen to them. Right? Like that's just how I'm programmed.
Yeah,
like, I'm
I
very
talk about it all the
meritocracy
time.
based.
I talk about it all the time in games. You can either be
Right.
you can either be toxic and really good, or you can be really bad and positive. Like both are totally fine with me.
Right.
Yeah, like if you're bad,
Right,
you just
yeah,
listen and
I
be
think-
positive. That's cool. If guy's like shit talking,
Right.
but he's like the guy carrying, I don't really care. Like do what you want to do. Hell yeah.
Yeah, like whatever. Like we all know deep down that person's probably going to have a bad game too, right? Like we all know that's going to happen. But at the same time, it's like if the guy's popping off and he says something, I might listen to him. I'll look at the VOD and I'll be like, was he right? Like, I don't know, right? And I'll look. But the thing is like you can't give people that kind of credit these days because people are bad faith now. Like these are people that are like, 14 years old. They have like no life experience. They literally hear like LS say something, so they parrot it, right? LS says support Nasus is good. I have a bunch of morons telling them that support Nasus is good, right? Support Nasus is good as a cheese. In solo queue, sometimes you spam E at people and they don't know what to do, right?
I mean,
But
it's a
not legitimately
situational.
good.
It's a super situational pick, and I think everyone would agree that
Right.
it was garbage in the Worlds game. Like it's just
Right,
shit
right,
draft.
right. And even in that game, no, I'm not even talking about the draft, Azzapp. I'm just going to be very mean. LS has said some very smart things, right? He's
Okay.
also said some very fucking stupid shit. I think we all have. But the point is that LS never admits that he's wrong.
Okay.
Do you understand? He never says, I'm wrong. I say I'm wrong all the time. I say I'm wrong all the time in coaching, right? That's a normal human thing to do.
Yeah,
LS is
you're
a
really,
massive fans of a bunch of like very like yes man type of like religious. It's called the Church of LS, dude.
Church of Elves. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that. I mean, he's also like, I think it goes both ways. He's got some very vitriolic haters as well, because the
Of
more
course.
loyal the close fan base is, the more aggressive the haters are. And yeah, I've noticed that.
Right.
But for sure, it happens. And if you have like a lot of work publicized, no matter who you are, you're gonna be wrong many fucking times.
Right.
Which is why I find like the
and that's the thing. And I'm
dissecting-
giving him the benefit. I give him the benefit of the doubt. It's not that I'm saying LS always bad, always stupid, right? I'm just saying that like I notice that when called out on it, he very rarely goes, I am wrong about it, right? But he has plenty of amazing fucking ideas about the game. Certainly. I feel like anybody who's been around as long as he has is bound to, right? Is bound to say some good stuff.
Yeah,
and is bound to say
like,
some dumb shit.
like the way I approach these usually is I'm very inclined, like no matter what, even if I agree or disagree, at first I kind of have to give respect to both you and
Right.
him, let's say, because both of you have built a huge name for yourself in the
Right.
community. So like I can criticize, but it's gonna come with a caveat of respect, no matter what.
Right. Yeah, no, I
yeah.
think all these guys are ultimately good for the game. I think that, you're bound to say something that you regret. You're bound to do some dumb shit. I think that's just the nature of look how many variables are in this game.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just you have a lot of work, no matter what. It's gonna be fucked in of mistakes. Yeah.
Years ago I said support Nasus was good.
I saw one Reddit where you have like listed a support Nasus.
Right.
Something was Reddit post.
Right. But even then, like, yeah, anyways, enough of that.
Okay, very very cool. Okay, so like, how much do you think these Twitter people is just? I mean, Twitter being spiteful, is just the snowball Twitter mentality, and just the Twitter spheres being designed to amplify animosity. Like, how much of it is it that, and how much of it is people who genuinely have some criticism of you?
I haven't seen a criticism of my coaching. Like, from generally, the way I view it is this. If someone grabs my coaching and says some shit like Neace is wrong, or I should not have watched this, and all this type of stuff that they like the way they title it, you can kind of tell that like the intent is, think of it like this. I could grab your gameplay right now and I could say Azzapp sucks dick, right? And I can make a video and I could go and I could watch your gameplay and I could wait until you make a choice. And then I could word salad my way into explaining why you should have done something differently. Okay. Right? Say for example, you shove mid, both mid and bot are you could just roam to them, right? You roam to bot, right? I look at the replay, I stop it, I move the camera to top, and I say he should have went top because of blah 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 blah, right? And diamond and lower players are gonna believe that.
Okay, that was gonna be one of my questions. What do you think the validity is of dissecting coaching? Like, let's say you have thousands of coachings published publicly online. What do you think the value of dissecting individual moments where you appear to have a mistake or something? Like, how valuable is that?
Oh, it's awful. It's awful for the scene. Listen, let's put it like this. I'm not always going to be the #1 coach forever and ever, right? I'm going to try to be for as long as I can. But what I'm saying is that eventually someone else is going to be where I am in some other space, right? And this isn't the last of video game coaches costing a lot. I won't be the last, right? So do we really want to set a precedent where every coach pulls up somebody's VODs and starts shitting on the coach with the experience with the client with like small snippets and not being right, like basically being disingenuous in order to tear somebody's credibility and reputation down? Is that really where you want to go? Because if that's where people want to go, that's fine, right? If that's where the culture is going to go, I would expect nothing less from League of Legends or video gamers in general. Right.
Yeah, I agree with the general sentiment.
Anybody, right. I would think that any coach that's truly, and I'm not saying a coach like, oh, take a Neace highlight and try to sound smarter than me, right? I'm talking any legitimate aspiring coach watching these interactions, want them to think long and hard about whether they're just being silent and complicit with this type of stuff, or if they're like actively being like, no, this person's a fucking asshole and this is stupid. Because what's going to happen is eventually someone else will be here and they're going to have their shit nitpicked. If you make a body of work for years, eventually you'll be in my position.
Yeah,
you'll have
I
people
agree.
go back 3 months ago, right? And they'll grab something that you did or something that you said, and they'll basically contrarian it, right? You know, like, listen, I'm going to ask you a question. You know for a fact, this is, if you play mid right now and you went through a VOD of my games, right? You know that you could say damn near anything to try to discredit me, and you could make a pretty good argument for it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it'll be fairly easy to dissect and find minor mistakes here and there. Like I can do that to my own game.
You'd be like, oh, he should have worded.
He should
have worded here. Obviously, right? Obviously, he should have had the client word up here. Because
I think whole this situation it runs the risk of producing an extremely toxic environment where coaching is gate kept. People will go extremely private. Nobody will publish anything online because of fear of criticism from other coaches. And I think this crossfire, this all-out warfare between coaches could be very detrimental for the learning in the community. So, dissecting minor parts, like other coaching, is just pretty weird. You could criticize someone's approach to coaching, let's say. You can say somebody's being a little bit too mean.
Neace yells a lot.
You can say someone is being too mean, and it's like, I don't think this is going to stick very well. Like, this is psychologically not the right approach to coach people. Maybe you're too agreeable with a person playing, and you're allowing him to make so many shit plays without correcting him. Right? You can criticize approaches like that, but individual scenarios like that, it has to be something really, really bad, in my opinion, for it to be criticized.
Right, and it's also like art. Right, you're not gonna pull up someone's painting and be like, "This guy's a shit artist." Like,
especially like you're gonna pull out like one corner of the painting. That's
this corner exactly, because it's an hour and a half coaching, or even a 30-minute edited YouTube video. It's like, dude, that's not the whole session. First of all, and like, second of all, like, what are you trying to do here? Like, you and I both know that the game you can choose. This isn't like right and wrong all the time, and certainly, there might be situations where it's right and wrong, but like I keep saying all the time, it's like, what if you want the client to just try something because you know he won't do it if you're not around?
Yeah, there's many approaches there. There's definitely many approaches to kind of like. There's also prior insight to the person. I've coached people who didn't know how to exert themselves. They always knew the right play, but they never shot called. They never did it. So I push them to make more plays, even though many of those plays could potentially fail. That doesn't mean necessarily it's a bad thing. It's just the paradigm shift of how the person perceives the game and tries to increase their own impact in the game. And by increasing your impact, you see how your mistakes or good plays impact the game, essentially. So you learn a lot more.
Right. I tell people to put their lab coat on sometimes. Right. Like, because they otherwise will they'll be a leaf in the breeze. Like they won't actively do anything. They'll sit back and they'll take a gimme play, like an absolute gimme play, or they'll follow a ping or something, but they'll never, like you said, shot call. It's exactly what it is. It's the same thing here. And so like someone pulls up a VOD and says, oh, Neace had this guy take the wrong runes. It's like, dude, the guy's in fucking silver. The runes don't mean shit. Like he could take fucking inspiration. It doesn't mean anything, man. Like, but they'll hone in on weird shit like that and they'll pretend that it matters, which again, not only is it's just clearly trying to diminish my relevance or whatever, but it's also just lying to people to try to make yourself sound smarter than others. And it's so douchey. It's like the person that like you answer a question and then this other asshole like raised his hand and said, that's not the right answer because of blah, 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 right?
Yeah, I agree that the reason why someone is taking different runes is much more important than actually taking the runes. Like you have to have people understand why they're taking something. They have to match that to the gameplay that they're trying to achieve. Okay, let's move on to the tough questions. Okay, so here it is. Are you really a Challenger player?
I think right now, probably with some practice and warming up, yeah, probably. Okay. Challenger in Korea? I don't know. I think I have a pretty good shot.
Okay. I mean, you're leveling an account, so this is going to be a good thing for the community to hold you to, and you're kind of going to be even more motivated.
I think it's hilarious. Yeah. I still am laughing about the whole thing. Honestly, you know why? Because no one gives a fuck about rank, right? No one gives a shit about rank. And now all of a sudden, remember, like everybody's like, rank doesn't matter. There's fucking win trading and dodging and this and this and this and blah, 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 blah. They say all these things to discredit the value of ranked. And then once I start making money, all of a sudden ranked matters a lot to people. And that's the other thing is that people think that I get coaching because of Challenger titles or whatever. No one books. I could take Challenger out of everything. No one books me because of that. That's another Twitter moment because no one that's buying my coaching is like, I'm buying it because of Neace said Challenger, right? No one gives a fuck. I could be rank 1. No one gives a fuck. But all they give a fuck about is whether or not you have content to back it up. If everybody that was rank 1 could get coaching or has hit rank 1, why am I the number 1 coach?
Okay, yeah, I mean,
think about it.
Rank is not incredible. Like, first of all, there's multiple dimensions. First of all, you're kind of right in saying most people don't really give a rat's ass about rank. Rank just doesn't. Who
cares?
Rank is not something that's easily monetizable.
Well, that was the other thing. Vegar V2, great coach, high elo coach, right? Specialized in high elo, right? He has a Challenger account right now, I think, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he usually gets multiple.
Yeah, well, I have more business than him. What does that mean?
Yeah, it just means like marketing and branding is 95%.
Right, exactly. And so what I'm saying is that like at the end of the day, you got to make stuff. No one cares. No one cares. The thing that people care about is your basically the work ethic, and they see your coaching style. That's it. And I want to double down on what you said earlier, where you were talking about hiding your coaching behind paywalls. Vegar V2's Patreon's great, right? I think it's sad. Because I feel like a big reason that he doesn't post it is because I think that he sees the community in a certain way. And I think that he probably makes a conscious choice to be like, you know what, I'm not going to really post these that often, right? Because I don't want to be in this position where people are nitpicking my stuff later. Like I can't even fault him for it because you see it. It's happening right now to me.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think he's hiding it because of that. I don't think that would be his approach.
No. I don't think he's hiding it. I don't think let me be very clear. I don't think he's hiding it because he thinks that people will view him as incompetent. If anything, his fans absolutely love him, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But what I am saying is that initially he probably made the choice back in the day to be like, ooh, I'm taking a big risk posting all my stuff here, right? This could be this could be something that could bite me in the ass later, and I'd prefer to just keep it offline. And I noticed that a lot of content creators would post their stuff initially and then realize what they were doing in like criticizing my stuff all the time, and then suddenly their coaching is now also behind a paywall. It's just a reoccurring theme that I'm seeing a lot in the space. I know that Vagar V2 is kind of pot committed now, right? He has a Patreon, and that's what it is, right? It's like his coaching stuff.
Could be. I think it's more just like a business decision on his end.
Right.
It's just like low bar of entry. I don't know, like a couple of bucks a month for like access.
Right. No, it's not a Vagar V2 flame or anything like that. That's not what I'm getting at here. I think it's more interesting, right, that there's not a lot of people that do it. And I think it has a lot to do with just community perception, right? Like the game's just really toxic. And I've seen him in particular, just in examples, like I've seen him defending his calls to people or defending his opinions on Twitter and getting obviously, kind of offended that people are like nitpicking what he's saying or anything like that. And it's like, yeah, it could be very annoying if people go back in time and dissect like a 2-year-old coaching or whatever and shit on you. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. So on to the next one regarding the Challenger. Have you reached Challenger before on, let's say, NA or a bigger server?
Yeah, so you could go through on threads, like, so if people don't believe me, that's fine. I mean, I really don't give a shit. The screenshots, like, if people don't believe that stuff, that's fine, right? But my whole thing is, you could literally just go to the thread. Like you could go to Adrian Riven. I don't know if you know who that is. He's been a high elo player for a long time.
Yep.
And even he was just like in threads, like, yeah, I've seen Neace in Challenger game for years. Like, I'm not shy about saying that I try to make money. Like I already told you, like if I wanted to make fucking Challenger on NA, that's not really a problem for me because it's not monetized. Like I've hit Challenger on NA in previous seasons before season 7 or whatever, but no one gives a fuck. No one was watching the content, man. Like, that's just what it is. Like I'm not the best player, right? And B, I'm just not very entertaining when I play all the time. I'm better when I'm coaching.
Yeah, I mean, also the amount of time you would take to reach Challenger would basically yield like 100 more in revenue, let's say, if you just invested in more productive A's. So grinding solo queue would definitely like take away from that. So you did hit it.
So basically, yeah. And you could literally look at Adrian Riven. Like he's a way better player than me, right? He's a top tier player. He's like, yeah, Neace has been in my games. We used to play against each other all the fucking time in top lane. Like this is what I'm talking about. Is people are latching on to some weird. They want to do a skill check. That's fine, right? Because I'm here now. I'm in Korea. I have time, so I look forward to it.
So yeah, I think you're gonna have a lot of people watching this and wanting you to fail. So
yes, I know, and they're gonna be very, very disappointed.
Climb, yeah.
I think people forgot that like when I moved to Fortnite, I placed in the open, like the Winter Royale, like the open qualifier, like when Fortnite was the most popular game in the country, right? Like I placed top 100. I did that. I was 30, man. Like not much has changed. Like I'm still a gamer. I just don't emphasize. So I've never wanted to even be a pro player in this fucking game.
Okay, what would you say to the allegations that the screenshot of Challenger is fake?
I'd say believe what you want.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, my opinion on that, like people asked me about that the other day, and I was like, there's no way in hell he's that stupid to risk something in such a stupid lie.
I'm not risking anything, even if it's a lie. There's no risk because it's never been about it anyways. There's no risk. No one from Twitter was buying coaching. None of them could afford it. There's no risk.
Yes, but that would imply that there was an inherent lie in the advertisement, I guess. So people could kind of judge you on that front.
Yeah, I suppose, but at the same time, like it just doesn't make a difference. It just doesn't make a difference. Like it doesn't. At the end of the day, when I make high elo in Korea, what are people gonna say? Like, oh God! Even if it were true, he lied about NA Challenger, which no one really gives a fuck about anyways. That's why there's a fucking champs queue right now. No one gave a shit about it. Now they all want like some sort of credibility check on like a season 9 challenger account. Like all of a sudden now, a season where no rewards were had. Right? It's what they do. They basically move their goalposts around until they find something to play gotcha on. Right? So if they don't want to believe it, that's fine. Right? There was some Chinese guy who was very happy to have that account.
So you sold it, yeah, I saw that.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is that like I said, I haven't been sitting here fronting. Like I'm very, very I'm not shy about saying that I'm here to make money. Right? Like
yeah, you've made that clear. Like it's just business at the end of the day. So, but the issue with the screenshot, let's say if it were fake, which I don't know, I think it's just a ridiculous thing to do. It would constitute as false advertising if you were saying that you were a challenger coach. I can see how that could rile people up.
Yeah, they could get riled, but then they also see that was the thing is because at that time that was all I had, and then we had the fucking video of me playing at like 500 LP Grandmaster. So 500 LP Grandmaster, then we won 2 games. That brings me pretty friggin' high up the ladder. So basically, if people really want to split hairs, and let's say a screenshot's fake, if people really want to split hairs on 10 LP, they could do that. But let's keep in mind, the people that are leveraging allegations, their challenger accounts that they have, right, are taken in like early season, playing about 10 times more games than me. I mean, what are you really arguing about, right? What's the debate point? The debate point is just that you spent more time playing it, right? Like we were talking about earlier, you spent more time grinding the game. Even back then, there was so much content coming out from my channel. Season 9, I'm pretty sure if you go back to 2019, there was all sorts of stuff. It wasn't Neace playing that Death by Cards account for the whole time. So I'd say it's pretty disingenuous to pretend that like I couldn't make Challenger. The only thing that you could say is that if I did fake a screenshot, that's the only thing that you would really have. Do you see what I'm saying? You couldn't really say that I was bad enough to not make Challenger.
No, I understand on the point of not having it. It's just people care about the prestige of having the rank. I think it doesn't really matter if you're like 20, 30 LP up or above, unless the claims are there. And like I've seen logs. I checked logs. I think Yasuke posted them on Twitter. I found some logs, and I found like GM. You were really high up GM, like a couple of games away, maybe like 1-2 games away from Challenger.
Right. And then the video, the video after the fact shows that like I literally load the op.gg, and then I play those 2 games. So either I don't hit it, or basically either I hit it or I don't hit it. I'm really fucking close to it. But that doesn't invalidate making Challenger previous seasons where I don't have any sort of fucking history, documentation, or anything like that. Do you think that if anybody in my position would know that would be something that they would go after? Like I would keep logs of every other account, like every season previous. Does that make sense?
I mean, that's understandable. I have a lot of lost documents like that from previous seasons.
Well, that's the thing is that there's no people talk about like false advertising. What exactly is false? Okay, let's say I don't make season 9 Challenger. Okay, if I make high elo Korea this year, does that mean I was lying that I couldn't have made it? Does that mean that like you see what I'm saying? It's the difference between getting Turd Blaster on your team and the difference between not. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah, the differences get very blurry, especially from season to season, and like the ranking and depends on how many
yeah. Right, really, what's the real difference? How many players of season 9, right? How many players of season 9 get to Challenger that are like scripting or like cheating or something?
I don't know.
You see where I'm going with this? Like, what's the real difference, right? What's the difference between 4 or 5 ranks? Like, are we really gonna do this like fucking technicality bullshit where people try to pretend? Initially, the rumor was Neace boosted himself all the way up to high elo.
That was
then there's a video I'm playing solo.
Written here. So there were claims that you got 80% win rate being dual boosted.
Right. So now, okay. So now I'm so bad that I'm getting boosted. Well, now the video comes out. Oh, Neace is, Grandmaster 500 LP playing 80 Twisted Fate in mid. Really? I'm that bad? Right? Like, is that what it is? Like, is 80 Twisted Fate with a 60-something% win rate in fucking Grandmaster? Does it really seem like if I put the time in that I couldn't make Challenger? Do you see where I'm going with this? Like, who gives a fuck? That's what I've always said. Like, who gives a fuck about it other than Twitter people? And now at this point, I'm just going to say the screenshot's fake. Right? I'll just be like, fuck it, it's fake. I faked it. And I'm just going to meme it. And then I'm just going to make high elo again. And then they're going to look double stupid because it just proves my point. No one makes Challenger for a fucking screenshot anyways. Screenshot was to sell. You see where I'm going with this?
The follow-up question to this would be naturally, were you selling under false pretenses in that case about fake Challenger?
Sure. Have the Chinese guy sue me.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So, will you get Challenger in season 13? So people are gonna have something concrete.
In Korea, that's gonna be season 13. Yeah. So next season, I'd love to. I'm gonna make an honest attempt when I'm not coaching. If I get coaching, I'm always going to choose making money over grinding away at League and wanting to hang myself, right? But
yeah, understandable. But there will be like, there will be a lot of people watching here, and like, if you don't get it, do you think like they're gonna add some validity to their claims? Will they grow in size?
I don't know. I've still got to figure out in my head what I think's an appropriate comparison, because there ain't nobody that's going to convince me that if I make a certain spot in high elo that it's not substantially a higher credential than NA. Do you understand where I'm going with this?
Okay. Yeah.
Like, there's just no way that like Korea, low GM isn't Challenger NA, or like Korea high master isn't Challenger NA. But absolutely, just for the sport of it, I'm gonna see what I can do regardless, right? Like, it would be a really tough. It would be a very, very tough sell to convince me that NA, basically just playing. I've just been playing on China, and just playing fucking Diamond 2 China has been harder than most of the high elo stuff I've seen on NA. To put it into perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I've played EU West, Nordic and East, and NA, and NA definitely is like you can feel the difference. You can definitely feel the difference. And
do you think NA is worse than EU and E though?
It's slightly better.
I don't know if that's
I would say it's slightly better. Yeah, I think NA is slightly better. Right. But EU West is just.
I fucked around with. I've coached a lot of people, and I've seen people's results. Like, I know a lot of the big high elo players like Xpetu and Jebsu and Rangers. Like, all those guys came from that server, and every time they played on that server, it looked very similar to like a LAN server, where it was just get some
Bjergsen
crazy.
Came from there. I came from like there were a lot of older players who were there.
Oh, I didn't know you came from it too. Yeah.
Yeah, then we rotated to US when most people wanted to go pro, or I personally wanted to play whereas like Frog and Alex, Ocelot and stuff like that, so I transferred.
Because I felt like it has to be worse than NA, but I don't know how worse.
It's like it's similar size of players. Okay, so similar size, but NA has a bit of a pro scene compared to Nordic and East. Nordic and East pro scene is very limited, and most pros from Russia, Turkey, Nordic and East, all play on EU West. So EU West is just considerably more difficult the higher you get. Like in Nordic and East, you're gonna feel a very soft barrier in high elo. NA has a kind of soft barrier in high elo. It doesn't get much harder from like 500 to 1K LP, let's say, or like from 300 to 500. Whereas EU West, like going to master 200, 300, 400 is just significantly harder every single time. The barriers get higher.
Yeah, no, I believe it. And one of the things for me is I'm not kidding. I've always just viewed this shit from my perspective of like playing on NA all these years. I've always just viewed it as a grind. I've never gone much higher than just at the bottom of Challenger anyways. I've never really viewed it as anything more than just putting time in, but I definitely feel the difference. Like when I play in the US, like I feel the pressure difference even in lower elos to be a lot higher than anything I've seen on NA. But yeah, I just know that Korea's already pissed me off, but I can't tell if it's just, I haven't played ranked in it very often. So I don't know if it was just because I started the first account, I have this new one, but the first one I was playing like blind pick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? They have blind pick here. And the blind pick games was like Smurf Q and blind pick games. And these guys were just like, they were like legit good, but they were also just griefing everywhere. So I couldn't tell if it's like going to be that way in ranked, you know, or if it's just because it's blind pick and they're fucking around.
Seems wild. So here's one where I think we might heavily agree. What do you think about champion anonymity? Champion select anonymity.
Okay. I think it's really good for the game.
Okay, why?
Because my opinion is that right now, League is where poker was years ago. People have a lot of, they put a lot of value on their ranks and on basically where they've gotten in the ladder, right? They put a lot of value on it these days. And they do it so much now that like they do every little dirty trick in the book to try to win. Very similar to how poker players will do every little dirty trick. So I always tell this story. Used to be the site called Poker Stars. You ever play poker?
Yep.
Hey, there used to be a site called Poker Stars. It's still around, obviously. One of the biggest online poker sites ever. Used to be able to add people to a friends list on Poker Stars. Okay? So you sit down at the table. You meet a fish, right? The guy punts his money everywhere. You add him to your friends list. Every time he sits down at the table would fill up.
Yep.
Everybody would go right to that guy's table and sit with him. Now, why does this story matter to a League of Legends player? Well, I'll tell you, because right now what's happening is League of Legends players are starting to become more like poker players, and they're looking for every other bullshit way to get an advantage other than playing League of Legends, aka poker, right? But the thing is this is really unhealthy for the game because League of Legends players are not as smart as they think they are, and they oftentimes will flame people or dodge games based on this premise that they've put in their head that they've made up based on the data that they've gotten. Right? So like I go online, I go to like, we'll just use a random one, let's say Professor or op.gg or whatever. And I see that Neace is 0-3, or he's lost 3 games in a row on Twisted Fate. Now say I do my climb on Korea. Say I play Tryndamere mid, which is probably what's going to be the main, right? I play Tryndamere mid, I win 85% of the games. When I don't get Tryndamere mid, I play Twisted Fate. I lose 3 games in a row. Someone goes to my op.gg and says and sees Neace lost 3 games in a row, they dodge, even though Twisted Fate's one of my best champs. That dodge is just wasting everybody's time. I'm not trying to lose. I'm not being a dickhead. I'm literally just playing my secondary pick, and I had a bad downswing. The sample size is not that big. Do we really want to create, or do we really want to keep a precedent where everybody is just dodging and wasting each other's time and pretending that they're smarter than they are and they're like mental blocking themselves? Or would we rather just move the game forward, get people off of the data mining stuff, and just play some fucking League of Legends, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I fully agree. I've been talking about that for months, just like, well, maybe actually for 4 years, technically, about dodging, because I don't think dodging should be a mechanic. I don't think this meta gaming is healthy at all for the game, and especially because a lot of popular people really like dodging. They're kind of promoting that socially. Idiots. So you get like super toxic environment where, I mean, there's going to be trickle down. So you're going to have people who are diamond and below dodging many games, and 95% of those dodges are just stupid because they don't understand what is a good scenario, what is a bad scenario.
Yeah, they don't even know what the fuck they're dodging for in the first place. They're just dodging because someone told them that they should dodge it sometimes, right?
Yeah, I agree. Like the thing, I mean, it's Riot's fault to an extent because they made it a climbing mechanic. You don't lose MMR, and if you are really good and understand the game, you can dodge scenarios where your chance to win is like 40%, and you can min max. But even that just creates like a super unhealthy ladder where knowledge about the meta gaming.
But then again, how are you even gonna prove definitively that your dodge is always correct? right? Like
Yeah, I mean,
that's
you
where
can you can statistically do them like in a good way. Like I'll know usually which games are gonna be
I'm not
pretty good at
debating
winning.
whether or not listen, I'm not saying that you can't ever I like I'm going to dodge on my climb. Like I'm not arguing that there's right? But what I'm saying is like even in my case, I can't guarantee you that every dodge I make is correct. There's going to be plenty of dodges in there where I'm like I fucked up. Like there was a guy that was going to troll on the other team, there's a guy that's horrible on the other team. Like I can't know that. All we're doing is just adding to the queue times and we're just making, like you said, a very toxic experience. Why the fuck are we going to pretend that like players are computer grade level of like
Consistency,
win assessment? Yeah,
yeah.
it's not right. I don't know. It's just not right. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I agree. And the point I'm making is even if you can't technically say it's correct, it's just I think it would be by far the best for competitive integrity if nobody ever dodged.
Right.
Because the pure randomness, out of pure randomness, eventually skill will emerge and it was going to shine forth. Because like people are going to make a case, like even like the most extreme case, I'm going to have a troll who's going to ruin the game on purpose. Okay, so if nobody dodges,
So is everyone.
like, first of all, like everyone's gonna have that. So across 1,000 games,
Right.
that doesn't matter at all, and you're gonna play 1,000 games. Secondly, people complain about trolls and about like high-low moderation. High-low moderation is never gonna happen while dodging exists because Riot is just taking a lazy way out by leaving dodging as an option, and then they're gonna use that to kind of defend against policing high elo because they don't have to do it. You have a tool to avoid trolls. Riot doesn't care about that.
Well, you know what's
If you're forced to play a game with them, you like the moderation would have to happen like immediately after. 3 weeks down the road, people are gonna be so pissed off that they can't dodge trolls that they're eventually like root out all the trolls in high elo.
right. And I would say that like I find it funny. I don't know if you're tracking like the jungle changes that are coming out.
Yep.
Right. So this is a classic example of Riot. Like people would argue, oh, Riot's reducing skill gap. Right. Well, because now the kiting is a little bit more tuned and polished, and it makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, I mean, that's a different debate. We can get into that later. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that isn't it funny that like the obvious answer here is the one that like they're doing all this other weird shit first instead of like removing the dodging mechanic and just making it be like you press Q, you're in the game. The end. Like. Because of exactly what you just said, they'll take all these random elements about the game away. Like for example, the blue buff and the red buff, right? What are the chances that your jungler knew to track the timing of the red buff? Remember that change back in the day? It was like you would take the red buff and you would time it.
Yeah, it would be like Quake basically, just memorizing all the counters on the items.
You would memorize the counter, and people say, "Oh, it's a skill gap, right? That's a skill gap, a skill gap, a skill gap." It's like, okay, yes, that actually was a skill gap that they removed. Dodging is not an in-game skill gap. That is just some weird shit that people just started doing to try to cheat and basically to try to get a 3 to 5% edge, and that's about all I'll credit it for. Is about a 3 to 5% edge. Yeah. Right? I don't think it would go much higher than that unless you're just an absolute like immaculate data mining.
Yeah,
savant.
I would agree. Yeah.
And I feel like it's such an obvious conclusion to lowering queue times. Like they always say, oh, the queue times are high. Well, we're dodging them.
Why. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the answer is that these people, there's such a sense of entitlement in League of Legends community. There's an entitlement. I should be allowed to play my champion in my role every time with impunity. If anybody makes me play my different role, I deserve to make them lose because I didn't get my role, right? I deserve to get the best team that I possibly could have gotten. I deserve to get the best comp that I possibly could have gotten for my champion. And I deserve to never have a bad experience with League of Legends.
Did you know
it's
that
entitlement, across the board.
Did you know that my TikTok got taken down where I was saying that champion Anonymity is good? It got reported for bullying and harassment. All I said is like you're supposed to play the games out because you don't know what's a good dodge. Champion Anonymity is gonna be good because people are gonna dodge less. And people got so offended. Like every single comment, it's got like 200k views. Every single comment is basically talking about how I don't want to play with a 30% win rate Vayne. I don't want to do this. I don't want to. Everyone is just like where are all these good players? Like if you look at a normal distribution, there's just the same amount of negative win rate players as the positive win rate players. how are always like these high win rate players commenting? Apparently, like it's only them existing in the community. Apparently, everyone's high win rate when they're talking, but this 50% of the normal distribution doesn't exist. Like I don't know where they are. Where are these guys? And so it's wild. They got taken down. I got it back up. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy how like defensive people are when you're trying to take away. Dodging has been mechanic for such a long time that people just don't want to give back the corrupted power. They're like just abusing it forever. It's such a crutch.
It doesn't. But the thing is it's not to a lot of people. They don't even realize that they're fucking themselves over too. Yeah, that's the funniest part.
Like if you dodge every counter, like you're never gonna get better at playing versus a counter, because if you dodge every weird scenario that you don't agree with, you don't learn. Like the best approach here is basically to treat 9 other players as NPCs, and it's like a one random scenario out of infinite where you just have to win. Like 3v5, people quit your game, just do your best, and yeah. I've won like 4v5 games in Grandmaster. Like it happens. Like you never know.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a perfect example. Is like the amount of people that will always try to like give up, and like that kind of is that, again, that understanding that they are entitled to have everything just kind of happen positively for them, right? And that no one should ever have a bad experience. To me, it just feels a lot like people are. I hate to use this terminology because it's like the buzzword. It's like the soft, like people are just soft. Like there's just no tenacity anymore. I don't know. It just feels very weak.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Great talk. I like that we got to this ending where we agree on these things. Nah, but I think I knew like you were against dodging. So Champion Anonymity is just so wild to me that not every content creator is just talking about how good it is. It's such a simple thing you can do to fix the game by so much. Reduce the rate of dodging is just huge for the game. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the long story short here is that like I just think it's very sad that we're still even having this discussion. Like it's from a game development standpoint, like it just feels like sometimes I feel like with League we're on a very old boat that takes a long time to turn. Any other game dev would have removed this shit eons ago. This would have not been in the game. Like it's just such a negative. Just overall, it's such a negative. And the profile, like the champion anonymity thing, I just fucking love that. Like I love that I'm gonna be able to hide away and like not have people data mining me. Oh, I mean, on China, I experienced it. I got mad at the teammate. I want to flame him. I fucking can't. I know it's probably better for me that I can't. Right? Like, it's just what it is. It's just better. It's just better in general. Like, why should I be able to, like, why should I even concern myself? I shouldn't be allowed to do that. I'm human. Like, that's the thing. It's the arrogance, the ego of that, to pretend that you could just sit there and play League of Legends and not get irrationally mad at somebody that you probably shouldn't have gotten mad at. Why the fuck should I be able to see his profile and just shit on him? I shouldn't. Help me avoid that, please. This isn't a stoicism simulator. Like, I'm not training myself to be a better man here, right? Like, help me.
Yeah. I mean, makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Do you have some time for a couple of Twitter questions that we got from people?
Yeah. I'm chilling. I'm literally just leveling right now. Literally.
Okay. Yeah. We're gonna drop a few. What does Neace think of the League's current tutorial and its effectiveness? If the tutorial is better, would there be less of a need for coaches? And if so, would the coaching prices change?
So I've talked about this. I'll speak from two sides. I'll speak as business Neace and I'll speak as gamer Neace. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Business Neace wants Riot to continue to be incompetent. Okay.
Yep.
Business Neace wants Riot to be incompetent and not put a better tutorial in. Because Business Neace likes money and does not want to have to work very often, right? But Gamer Neace, who really, really wants the game to get new players in it, which I would argue that even my YouTube channel is exciting players, like to get players to play the game again. The amount of coaching clients that I get that just say, hey, I'm getting back into this game because I love your videos and I love that you're coaching people, right? And it just makes me excited to play the game. I realized I didn't realize there was so much information to this game and there was so much I could control, right? And they get excited. I think that Gamer Neace is a little sad that Riot doesn't care about its new player experience that much.
Yeah, for a game with such complexity, to have such a terrible tutorial is just it's a crime.
Well, it's not even just the tutorial. I think that's simplifying it. I think that it's not only the tutorial is the problem, but right now here I'm leveling. I can't get a smite and I can't get a flash for some reason.
Yeah, the initial experience, like getting into the game, is just really wild.
Very weird. It's weird. It just feels like
Yeah, and
it feels
people,
like it's as old as the game is.
Yeah, and most people like coming into the game now are familiar to the game to some degree. They're either like coming from a banned account or like a second account, or they watch the game a little bit to understand something. And they maybe have seen like a coaching, oh, this guy's playing jungle, I want to play jungle. Goes in the game, he can play jungle. Like, what is up with that?
Well, that's the thing is they should. And Phalaris is my jungle coach on my site, and he's fucking phenomenal at it. And he is constantly talking about like there should be like a jungle tutorial, right? Like that would be something that would be wonderful for the game. That that would make everybody says they don't want to play jungle, right? Well, the reason they don't want to play jungle is because it's fucking confusing role and no one teaches them how to play it, right? Until they go to YouTube. Like, and it reminds me of like Minecraft when you first go to find the Ender Dragon.
Yep.
You ever play that game?
Yep.
It's like you're playing. Yeah. You got to go get the dungeon, right? Like you got to find. What, you hate it?
Okay, there's another question here. Can you sleep
wait,
in the nether?
Why do you hate Minecraft?
Can you
so
sleep
much?
in the nether?
Minecraft?
This is a question for you. Okay.
What's the hatred for Minecraft? Wait, we got to get to this. Why do you hate Minecraft?
So this one is about me. They sent me a question like with you sitting in fucking nether. Like sitting in on the fiery blocks and saying, "Can you sleep in the nether?" That's the question. Because they baited me basically to bring a bed. One time I was playing and it blew up.
And they trolled you, and then you couldn't go sleep there. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I was like, man, smart
That's
idea.
amazing.
I'm gonna bring a checkpoint with me. Let's go on expedition.
Yeah, no, that's great. And the thing is, when we're talking about that, is like Minecraft, right? Like if you want to, well, now I think they do kind of give you some sort of like direction with the game eventually, right? But like it feels kind of like that with League. Like why don't we have some sort of information that you don't have to go to fucking Google for?
Yeah, exactly.
Dota has coaches in the app. I don't know if you know this.
Oh, really?
Dota 2, yeah, you can get a coach right in the game. Swear to God.
That's pretty good. Oh, that reminds me of the old Spectate game thing. That used to be really good. But you could watch high-level players.
If people are saying Neace, like here's Gamer Neace again. If people are saying that like I am taking advantage of people or whatever, that's not my problem. Like, that's not my problem. That's Riot's problem.
Yeah, partially
right?
to that. I also had a good thought about that. Like, a lot of people are gonna accuse you of only catering to low elo players, like gold and below. But on the other hand, most people are gonna be extremely elitist about ranks. I mean, I'm partially like to blame here as well, because I treat basically diamond and everything below as low elo, and I will very often say reductionary to kind of sum them all up in one place.
I'll say shit like that when I'm mad, but at the end of the day, the game's hard as fuck. I think anybody that pretends otherwise is just
for sure.
Their life experience
incredibly high bar of entry. You need to know so many abilities just to get started in the game. Like you need to know 150 champs, how they play, what roles do, and all that stuff. So yeah,
there's a reoccurring constant with people that say shit like that, like who really mean it, and usually this is all they have. This is their only thing in life, is playing League of Legends. It's the only thing they understand because it's all they've done their entire life. So it's very, very easy to dismiss newer players and be like, "Oh, these people are so stupid," blah blah blah. It's like, no, dude, dude just got into this game. Like he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't even know how to move his camera yet, and you're basically saying that he's an idiot and he can't learn. It's like, is this how, like, this is why games like Call of Duty and Fortnite are killing us.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's
at
why
least in
Craig
NA,
died,
right?
basically.
Right. It's this
learning curve is just
bullshit
too
that people
steep.
do.
Yeah.
Like you gotta invite people to play the game. You gotta be willing to take the time to explain it to them, and you've got to be willing to take the time to explain it to them in a way that's not fucking stupid and confusing. And like I always say, high elo, it makes sense to be drawn all over the screen, right? It makes sense. Like a VOD review, I understand, But how are you going to take a silver player's game and tell the reason that he's in fucking low elo is because of runes that he took, and then draw over his fucking screen and pretend that that's what he needs to be working on when he's playing lock camera and he's got 20 APM? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I usually try to avoid like direct feeding of information like that. Like, take these runes, take that, do that specifically, build this. I try to teach principles on why something would be desirable.
Concepts.
Yeah. I think you're giving essentially people a way to learn way more efficiently, and they're not gonna wake up tomorrow and be 2 ranks higher. It's just a way to accelerate the progress down the road.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's very telling of people's life experience levels, or their I would even go as far as to say their lack of balance in their life, something that I struggled with when I was younger, right? Obviously, if I'm in this position now, I probably had that problem, right? I'm a little older now and I see it for what it was. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, if I go to the mechanic, that guy's experience in life is fixing cars. If mechanics was like, or I should say, if being a mechanic was like how it is in this video game, you'd have a bunch of mechanics calling each other shit all the fucking time, right? And calling people that don't know how to fix cars.
They're all in cahoots,
right? And then people that don't know how to fix cars, all the people that don't know how to fix cars, these people are fucking stupid. How stupid are these people? Right? Like, it's really dumb if you think about it. Like, monumentally, like, they're just behind. They're just going to look very short-sighted in the future, I think.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, we got a couple more questions here. How long was Neace in the military for? What branch
4 years.
And what was his favorite station?
I was in for 4 years, and I was at Fort Lewis for pretty much the whole time, which is in Washington State. That's on the west coast of the U.S. I went to Afghanistan for a full year. I had like a month in the middle there for like an R&R, which is like you go home, but I was pretty much there for the whole year. And I mean, I did basic. I did Fort Huachuca, which is like intel school, and that was it. And then I got out. It was pretty I don't know. I don't regret going in or anything. I think it was good for me. But yeah, I was kind of, when I was in, I kind of was miserable, I think.
Wait, why?
Because I wanted to do this job.
Oh, so you were already like, kind of like on this side.
I was planning it when I was in Afghanistan. Like, I mean what I say in the YouTube videos. Like, I wrote a business plan. The sad thing is I fucking lost it. But the original business plan was for my first the channel, which the name still stands. It's called bingegaming.tv. And the business plan was literally what I'm living right now. It's just way beyond my wildest dreams, right? Like, initially it was just, I was going to make Halo tutorial videos because that's the game I was good at. Right. And then the Halo, it was like Halo 4 came out or whatever it was, and it was horrible. Like, the game was awful. And then I was like in love with League at that time anyways, and I was like, let's just get into this game. This game is popular. Everybody loves it. And honestly, it's just, there's a lot of luck in here, man. And I feel like that's kind of where these stories always wind up falling, right? Is you work really hard, right? And then the luck happens.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of that principle. Like, luck will literally never happen if you don't try to work, because you're not giving it opportunity to find you. Basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's one question for me in the middle of this. Like, do you think like military service helped you in forming discipline in terms of getting better or teaching other people?
Bro, people yell at me all the time for how I coach, but this is like standard military shit that I do. I do the same shit that they do in basic. Like, the same ideas, right? Just sometimes I'm in worse moods than others. But like, people go, why doesn't he? It's so funny. I'm so glad you asked that question. It's so funny to me. I will sit. This game is so high stress, right? And you have to be able to think about what the fuck you're doing and make a decision, right? Even if the decision's wrong, the game is stressful and you've got to choose. And the military, you get yelled at and you make a choice. And sometimes you look like a bumbling idiot. But every time you do, you get a little bit more confident. You know why? Because you think to yourself, well, can't get any worse than that. right? I just tripped over my fucking, I just tripped over a sidewalk here because the drill sergeant was yelling at me with all my gear on. And now I have to pick it back up, right? Like, I'm a lot less, like, at that point, you're tougher. Like, you're mentally tougher because you're dealing with a stressful situation. And for some people, they learn very quickly, like, he's getting on me because I'm not moving fast enough. I'm not coming up with solutions fast enough. I'm not making a choice and sticking to it. That is very much, a lot of my coaching style is influenced by my time in the military. Because
that's very cool.
League is not, people pretend, right? Again, a bunch of weirdos that only have played League their whole life. People pretend because they have a handle on League and nothing else, that means that the way that I should teach League is for them. And it's like, no, brother, like, League is natural to you. It's like an extension of your hand right now. You understand it. A new player needs to understand the tempo by which the game needs to be played, because until someone shows them, they have no idea. And only by pressuring people can you really get that result out of them. Now, if there was a better player, if I'm coaching high elo, yeah, I'll pull up VOD reviews. If you notice in high elo coachings, I don't yell at those guys quite as much because I trust them to be able to pilot their champion, right? I trust them to be able to do it. It's an
ingratiation tactic for like rookies to an extent.
Right. Because if you let people, I get a guy stuck in silver for 7 years. Obviously, the way he's playing isn't working. So now I've got to do like drill sergeant Neace
to shake him up. Yeah.
Right, because he obviously just, if I leave him alone, he's going to do it again.
Yeah, I agree. I remember, that's why I asked you a question. I remember reading the book from Jocko Willink. He was in the Navy SEALs. Mm-hmm. He had like a book about leadership. And it has like a lot of correlations in terms of like working in team and tactics and how to pull yourself away from the situation and kind of think things through and learning. So yeah, I think it could correlate to League and in any facet of life, honestly. When you try to get better at something.
I mean, if you're playing chess, obviously my coaching style makes no sense. Right? I guess unless it's like speed chess maybe, but even then it wouldn't make any fucking sense. My coaching style is perfect for this game. It's just what it is. Like for players that are new, like it's perfect. That's a big reason why players that have done the coaching, a lot of them, like if you go to like my Trust Pilot, most of my coaching students are really, really happy. Like they're super happy. So happy they made a Trust Pilot account and fucking reviewed it.
That's good.
Right? They didn't have to do it. It's because it's just a good way to teach somebody a very hard game. You have to put them under pressure, because if you think that you could just play this game at your own pace, for most players, their own pace just isn't enough, and they need to see it, right? They need to feel the pressure so that they go, oh my God, I can't be worse than when this guy was yelling at me in front of like, a YouTube channel and a stream, right? I could make mistakes all day after this. Jesus fucking Christ. Let me try some stuff now, right? Like I'm not going to be as scared anymore. And that's what a lot of people want. They want to be, like you said, almost like initiated that way.
Yeah, I mean, there's a variance between people as well. There's different people respond to different types of coaching better. Like some people might want a bit more mild coaching. Some people might respond, might never listen to anyone unless you're yelling. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Understandable, and people know your style, so when they go in, it's kind of obvious what they're in for.
Yeah, it's not like I surprised. That's not true. I had one hilarious video. I don't know if you ever saw this one. I had a hilarious one, dude. I want to link you. The guy went to Google and grabbed my coaching, but he shows up with Nocturne Jungle, which is that's the champ I made masters with this year. Okay, and it's a very common champ that I coach on coachings, right? And I just assumed, because if he paid, he paid like $250 for the coaching.
Oh, you thought he knew about the Nocturne?
I mean, wouldn't you? Right? Like, imagine you're me.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what happened. So he has my champion that I coach everybody on. Right? He has paid this just a crazy amount of money for coaching to get into this video game, and I'm like yelling at this fucking guy. Like, I'm telling you, I'm like going in on him, and he tells me in the middle. I go, I'm like, you know what my coaching, you've seen my coaching before, right? Like I was saying it in a mean way, right? And then he goes, actually, no. I'm like, wait, what? And you can kind of, you can hear it in my voice, right? You can hear it in my voice. I was like, what? How is that possible, right? And then my brain shifts. You can see the switch flip, and I immediately go to being way nicer to the guy because I didn't know, I just didn't know that it was like that for him. So I want to add, and I haven't got around to it, but I want to add a thing on my site because I realized there is actually a chance that someone shows up here from like just a Google search. Like it seems very rare, but I clearly converted somebody off of Google. And the rest of the coaching, the guy did a really good job. And it was so funny because he's in the video. He's like, I guess I didn't get the study guide. I was like, man, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't know, dude.
Well, that happens. I mean, that's like a person for me coming with like a randomly playing Vel'Koz, not because I'm known for Vel'Koz.
Right.
Yeah. And I've
Right.
had
Could you
people like
imagine?
build, I mean, Seeker's arm guard first when they go Zhonya's like second or third item. So you're buying in a mid game, late game fucking Seeker's arm guard, and like if they know me, they know I always like shout on that. So yeah, I'll always flame that stuff. Yeah, like just
Dude,
for
be
the sake of
careful with
like
that.
memory.
You never know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. So we got more on Twitter. Is it possible that after doing coaching for a living for such a long time, Neace has let his professionalism go to a degree and his quality has gotten worse simply because he would not have put the same effort he used to anymore? I guess like a diminishing like quality over time.
There's definitely days that I don't know if I would say that. I think there's definitely days where, I mean, I'm only human, right? It does absolutely become a job. I think it would be disingenuous to sit here and pretend that like the first 100 coachings were always the same as like coaching number 800, coaching number 1200, right? Like I think it would be, I've seen a lot of things time and time again, but I've also, I guess, I have no problem like going over, like my stream has seen it. I have no problem going to practice tool and being like, this is how you A left click. This is how you do this. Like, I have no problem going over anything. I don't think it's fair to say that quality will have decreased. If anything, I would say that I've become a lot more optimized in terms of how fast I diagnose somebody. Sometimes it's kind of like, it's like going to the doctor, right? Initially, I'm sure when a doctor goes to start actually being a doctor in a real fucking, a real building, right? Initially, that doctor is like really, really unsure about his diagnosis, right? And it could seem like he's almost disconnected at times later in his career. You ever had that doctor?
You can feel the robotic actions from him, yeah.
Right. Right. It's almost like, it's like that. Maybe certainly I'm sure I'm susceptible to that level of just like, damn, you know, I've seen this 10,000 times. I know exactly what's wrong. And it may seem like I didn't put much thought into it to the client maybe. But in reality, it's not that I didn't put much thought into it. It's like, just, dude, I've seen you before. You're not that special. And maybe that could be construed as like, oh, he just doesn't care as much. It's like, no, dude, I'm just, you know, I've done this more than anybody. Anybody that says Neace isn't a challenger player or whatever, I would definitely say like, okay, but in the coaching realm, I am well equipped to diagnose people quickly more than anybody onto what they need. Right? Because I've just spent so much fucking time doing this. Like, how could I not be?
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. Okay, there's a Twitter one. Okay, are you ready?
Twitter.
This one is from Twitter, but it's with Twitter logic, I guess. It's Twittery.
Okay.
It's got Twitter all over it. So, does he think predatory marketing using exclusionary social tactics, isolating low knowledge individuals from greater communities to maintain their ignorance and peer pressure them into financial burden, is in any way morally agreeable or remotely talented act? So I
feels like a troll
I had to read this one like twice to just fully comprehend it.
Well, it's a lot of big words. They found themselves feeling real smart after they wrote it.
Yeah. So what do you say to this
I would
one?
say, I mean, predatory how? Like, Medify has coaches that are $5. Like, why aren't they getting coaching then? How's it predatory? How am I isolating anybody? Post coaching, then you would not. I post 2 coachings almost every day. Like, just post stuff, and then you wouldn't be as isolated. I wouldn't be isolating anybody. Like that's. I never understand these arguments because they always remove the amount of work that I put in from the equation.
I mean, yeah, that happens with literally any successful like people. Like if you're a streamer, nobody sees the first 3 years. It's just the last year. Like you make
People
this
talk
amount
like
of money
I'm
for
Walmart.
that. Yeah.
Like, think about this. People talk like I'm Walmart. Like I'm not just sitting here right now on a call with you. Like I can't be coaching right now. I'm in a call. Like I am limited by time. You know.
So you're saying you're
right?
not Walmart?
Yeah, it's like the way they talk. They talk like there's 10 of me.
Yeah.
Like there's 10 nieces running around just like inhaling all the coaching. Like, no, dude, people just didn't understand their value, and I did. That's it. And I just worked hard. Like, that's it. It's not any deeper than that. Like, the world's a big place. That's why I have so many clients, man. I take a lot of the market share up. That's all.
Yeah, cool.
It's not predatory. It's not like have I once said that I'm a better coach than you right now? Have I said that? I said I'm the number one in terms of requested, but have I said, Azzapp, your coaching sucks and your viewers should not they should not be coached by you? Never said that, did I?
I don't think so.
Right. Yeah. If I did, I snuck it by, right? Like there's no damn it, Neace did it again. Right? No, like but there's plenty of coaches that do that to me. Right. And there's plenty of people that say I'm predatory. How? Like, you see me sitting right here. Like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, this one was a little bit weird, but I just wanted to get your opinion on it.
I think it's funny. I think it's a funny question.
Yeah. So it's got a fair bit of likes. So I thought it was weird from. It's like a classic Twitter statement. So yeah, I think this was great. I think this was pretty great. We touched on a lot of things, like a lot of others that are commented. We basically touched on, so I don't want to like go into repetitiveness. We basically did most of the things that I wanted. It was a great talk.
Yeah, basically, summary is Neace, bronze coach. Neace photoshops Challenger.
True.
True. And then Neace is scamming people, and Neace is like a big business is like Walmart.
Okay.
And I am kicking everybody else out of business. I'm coming into their streams. I am removing their ability to market themselves.
And if you don't get Challenger in Korea now, you have to delete all the accounts.
I will literally delete everything if I don't make Challenger in Korea.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just delete it.
Market chat. There we go.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake here, boys. No, but really, what do you think? What do you think a comparable rank is to NA Challenger in Korea?
I've never played Korea, so I tried not to say shit.
Never played?
Yeah, I gotta travel there.
You know what happened the first time I went there? I went there. This is some shit. People say I'm lying. This is the shit. I went to Korea years ago. This was I feel like it was season 6 or something. And when I went there, I was playing Gangplank. And I thought I was really good then. I was playing pretty high elo then too, in NA. And then I went to Korea, and I could not get out of Diamond 1.
D1 gaming.
And D1 gaming, I could not get out of Diamond 1. And you know what LS said to me the first week? He said I was one of the best Western Gangplanks he'd ever seen. So if that doesn't tell you, well, no, it's not, because I wasn't, right? If that doesn't tell you that sometimes motherfuckers are wrong. Right. I knew so very little about laning and about the game back then. And it's like, this is what I mean, man. Like, it's just different. And I'm also saying here that like Korea's solo queue is hard. I know it's way harder than NA is.
Yeah, I really want to go there next year. It's one of my plans.
I mean, if you ever come through, I'm here for the next couple of years. If you ever come through, just let me know. I can't like personally, I live on a military base. I can't personally do anything there, but I could definitely point you in the right direction on like where to go, and cool. I have resources that I can make it so that it's not as a culture shock to you.
Yeah, I've been kind of planning to pull this off in like, I don't know, last year, the year before, but it was like all with the COVID issues. So yeah, next year I'll try to sum up the cash for that. And yeah, because it's a big trip.
Yeah, if you put a stream goal up, your viewers will absolutely help fund it.
Yeah,
they will just want to see it. They'd want to see it. I remember back when I did the Korea trip, my stream funded it pretty quick. And then also when I did the LAN Fortnite tournament, where I had to go to PAX to do the open. That yet another thing that Neace qualified for. Bad gamer Neace. When my viewers helped fund that. And I went to a LAN tournament and placed in the open qualifier there. So generally, when it comes to traveling, your audiences would really, they want to see you do stuff like this. Obviously here, my wife's military, so I didn't have to do any of that. But the only thing that I would caution you about, though, before you get too fucking hyped about it is, dude, it's fucking hard to get accounts here, man.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
You want to hear like real quick? I mean, I'm not boring you, am I? Because I can go away if I'm boring you or your viewers.
It's fine,
I can.
Fine. This is cool.
Because I'm liking just doing bot games and chilling. Like you guys have gotten me. Thank you, Azzapp community. You guys have gotten me to level 10 so far on the bot grind. So I'm very very happy with that. But so the way you get a Korea account is this is what I had to do. I had to get a foreigner registration card.
What?
First. Yeah, oh yeah, I have a foreigner registration card right here. I took a picture of my creepy photo on Twitter. I have a foreigner registration card, and then I had to go and I had to get a phone number. Oh yeah, I had to get a phone number, and you have to get a bank account.
Sheesh.
Mm-hmm. You need all three in order to get. You need all three in order to get a Korean Riot account before you'll be able to get it.
Otherwise, if you're LPP.
Well, I have a Riot account too.
I'm wondering if
but here's the problem with that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem with that. I mean, the woman that I messaged to help me get the Riot account. She is Mel. Her name is Mel on Twitter. Riot Swim Bananas. That's who that is. Okay. She helped me get a Riot account, but it didn't come. You got to understand, these branches are separate. So if you go to Riot NA, they have like no agency over Korea. So she could talk to Korea for you, right? So I don't know who your partner manager or whatever, because I'm not even with the LPP. They don't even have me in that. But you could try to go to the Riot people, the LPP. You could go, hey, get me a Korean account. The problem is they're going to give you an account, but it's going to be temporary. And I don't want to flame them. They might do shady shit to the account because they track it a lot more heavily since it's them. And then people try to break into them because streamers show the ID, right? And then like hackers try to break into the account, which will get it locked. Because that account already got locked twice since I've been here. So really your best bet, in my opinion, is to just get a legit one like I've done, level yourself, because otherwise you're going to have some weird stuff happen where you can't play.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll remember that. Remember that. Hopefully next year I pull that off. Sounds like a hassle, but I think it'd make hell of a good content.
I mean, I'm playing on 9 ping. What ping do you get over there?
60, 50?
I got 9, brother.
Yeah, I played NA with 150, so hey.
Yeah, dude, that's actually incredible. That's like a crazy accomplishment. I don't even understand that. So can you tell me about that? Like, did you just play Vel'Koz the whole time? Did you play mid? And what season was that?
It was like 3 seasons back to back. I got Challenger there, yeah. So it originally started with like a plan for me to go to America to do the boot camp. And it turned out I couldn't pull that off. And I was like, okay, I have 1 extra account. I'm just going to transfer it to NA and try to play on high ping, whatever, you know. So I tried it one time and I got shit stomped in gold and I gave up. So the next time around, like I think next year, I tried to do it again. And I got, it's like a very weird thing with your brain, like how fast you adapt. You wouldn't believe it. In a couple of games, I could play comfortably on 150 ping. You just have to like kind of shift your brain into like slightly doing it ahead, slightly thinking ahead. And with Vel'Koz, you're kind of doing that anyway. Like you're mostly like
that was why I was asking, because
like
not every champion can do this though. So what made Vel'Koz so good? I'm dying to bots right now. What made Vel'Koz so good for this? Yeah, bad Neace.
I mean, he's kind of horrible for it in the sense that it's 4 skill shots and everything. So you kind of like it's gonna suck. But there are tactics where you try to manipulate enemies, and I have a lot of these like preemptive tactics that are gonna work like 80% of the time, and you can kind of pull that out. So I ended up going 34-0 on my run. I lost my first game in Platinum 1, I think.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no duo. I swear. This was before Smurf Q and everything. This was like I think season 8.
Yeah,
So
no, that's pretty wild. Yeah.
I got 34-0 with Vel'Koz, and then I lost, and then I got Challenger. I don't know, like there's like a Twitter post about it, but it was like a
Now,
lot of games.
just a bonus question here, because like I've had accounts that have ran really well, right? How much of that did you feel like you were running kind of lucky too?
It's luck, yeah.
Right, right. Isn't
like,
that funny?
I'm not-
You'll have like a climb, and you'll be like, "This is a little lucky too."
No, like it's just basic numbers. Like you're gonna lose 40% of games like right off the bat. Like obviously that shifts when you play low velo. I can impact and carry like 90% of low velo games. But 1 in 10, you're gonna get people who give up and just leave the game. Like what are you gonna do? Like or you're gonna get a Smurf Master E in the enemy team, and like it doesn't matter if I'm 3-0 Vel'Koz if he's a 2-0
Did
Master
you guys
E,
hear that? Did you see what? Yeah. Did you hear what Champy said, guys? The one I always tell people to ban in low elo.
Oh, he's a low velo stomper. Like he's just so brained.
He's the goat. He's
So
the goat
yeah, like
of low elo.
a diamond Smurf is gonna beat me if I'm like a Challenger Smurf in that elo if you're same fed. It's just his champ has higher impact.
Right.
He has priority to win the game. As simple as that. So you're gonna lose no matter what. Like no matter how good you are. 34 is like I was fully aware at the time. That was just absolute sheer dumb fucking luck. I mean I played well. I clutched some of the games which were supposed to be lost. Like I made some sick comebacks and all that good content. But it was just there's a huge dose of luck there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Like, because every time I hear somebody, because Shogo, my ADC coach on my site,
Okay.
he won collegiate. His team, his college team won, and he came from Israel, and he has pretty high ping, and he got to Challenger recently on EUS playing like 100 ping.
That's
And
sick.
I just always think I just always think that's so impressive when people pull that shit off, because I'm just like, dude, I could never do that. That's just
Yeah, it's
that's
like
that's a tough one.
the lag makes you feel like some sort like there isn't even like a word for it. It's like a seasickness version, where just everything is so laggy, lethargic behind you. Like it's so weird. Like it can get nauseating a little bit to like have something so delayed. Like cause you really notice it at that point. It's fairly noticeable and just it kind of sucks. But you can reprogram your brain to an extent to not care. I tried doing Oceania for fun. It was 350 ping. And at 1/3 of a second, a quick game with like where you need instant feedback, it really sucks. I played, I don't know, I didn't play too many games. I got like gold 1 or something. I gave up. It was a mess. It was horrible. I hated playing it there.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. I still find it pretty impressive. And yeah, definitely you should absolutely, if you guys decide to come out here, you should absolutely just hit me up and let me know, because I basically I at least understand now what apps you would need to get, and like how to actually get an account and what the experience looks like. I have no idea how. I was talking to Elite on DMs, because he was telling me, he was like, when it came to asking him about accounts, he was telling me, he's like, I have he doesn't have like a legit account, I don't think, but he still managed to go all the way up. Like I don't know how it didn't get flagged or anything. So because it just seems kind of random what they choose to ding you on, you know?
I mean, didn't he get banned? Like
he didn't, but he's still playing there, right?
Yeah, he got a new one, I think.
Yeah, I don't know why he got banned. Actually, I do know. Why do I know this? He got banned because he told somebody to just like suck his balls or something.
Yeah, I mean, most Europeans that go there get banned. Like, from what I've noticed.
But I thought he was like super chill though, right? Like he's way chiller than I am.
Yeah, he's chill. He rarely types shit. He's very stoic in his behavior. But, yeah.
What a way to go down. Oh god, dude. Well, this was fun, man.
Yeah, this was super fun. I'm glad that like you really came out here, because this is like pretty cool. Because I like originally why I hated this is because I just don't like Twitter discourse one fucking bit. It just makes me sick seeing all the Twitter like. So I really wanted to like hear your thoughts like fully here coherently on everything, like on these issues, because Twitter is just, it's such a weird way of discourse. Like I can't even explain it eloquently. It's just super weird, and it can tend to snowball in one direction. People also have like skin in the game because there's also like cloud farming, so it's almost incentivized to take the opinion that to hate someone or dislike someone, or just to jump on the popular bandwagon.
But it's so weird because, like, okay, let me before you go, because that's actually a really good thing to talk about real quick. Is I find it interesting how much people care about it on Twitter, right? Because this whole time that I'm having fun with it and joking with it, I'm realizing that, like, I don't even understand why people are there. Like, I recently did an ad on Twitter and I made some money on it. And that was the first time in all the time that I've had a Twitter account that I actually made any money on the platform. So I have no idea why anybody's there, like, at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, it's such a weird platform.
It's like a Reddit type thing where people do it for popularity, but it's this short form thing, which
short form Reddit.
yeah, short form Reddit, which just makes it ultra terrible, and people are super incentivized to hate on something and just replicate the popular opinion. Because, like, when you see a banger tweet that has a bunch of likes, you know you're gonna find 10,000 tweets which are exactly the same. People just parroting that because they're gonna farm likes, obviously. And there's that, like, self-reinforcing feedback loop, and it's just, I don't know. I think it can get rather unhealthy. So I just thought, like, hey, why wouldn't I just want to have conversation? You know, like.
Well, you know what's the funniest part about it? You are one of the only people. Just to put into perspective the type of community that we're dealing with. Okay, so look at how many people have recently taken my coachings and reviewed them. Okay. Initially, right? It was mostly negative, right? Like, mostly negative. Like, they would go in, they would grab the coaching and they would shit on it, right?
Yep.
Well, then I started copyright striking some of the videos, which is funny that you didn't ask about that. But, like, I'm not ashamed of it, right? I'm well within my rights to do it. And some people would say, I didn't
stumble upon that. People in chat were typing about it, yeah.
Well, people are, you know, it's a debate point, because on one side of the coin, you could say, all right, Neace is being too sensitive, blah, 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 right? But my point is that, like, this is pretty much the definition of, like, copyright infringement. Like, you take someone's content, which is most of my income comes from my coaching right now, right? You're taking my coaching content and then you're trying to basically use my content against me so that you can get more business, right? Like, that's the whole purpose is not to inform the customer. Like, right? Your intent is very clearly to get business for yourself because you're mad that I have it and you don't, right? And so that's what prompted the copyright striking stuff. But the only reason I bring all this up...
Who did you copyright exactly?
Oh, initially it was just Tarzan, but, like, there's other people too. And, right, I felt no, like, these people are acting like they're just being wronged, right? Like running my videos and talking over them and playing contrarian is, like, the hardest thing in the universe to do. Like, they put their heart and soul into it when it's so disingenuous, right?
No, I agree.
But
it's fairly easy to do that. The question here is about fair use, I guess. Then
right, the fair use, exactly.
Fair use, yeah.
So fair use. So, like, it's factors of fair use. If you look at it, the last factor pertains to whether or not you're basically using something to make it so that the person has a harder time, basically the person has a harder time making money on their business, right? That's one of the things that's considered in regards to fair use. Now, there's a big difference between running somebody's content and making a montage out of it, right? Which people could happily have done. They could have made a Neace rage-tage, right? They could have done something that actually could have taken effort. But what they did instead was they just talked over it and ran it in the background, right? And it serves two purposes. It makes people less likely to go to my video, obviously, but it also has the bonus incentive of growing their coaching business while trying to tear mine down. So I felt it was only fair to inconvenience them, right, by copyright striking it. Now, I don't plan to go to court over it or anything, right? I have no intention
I don't think
of
you can
doing
make
that.
even a case out of that, because that would probably be...
Oh, I absolutely could. I absolutely could.
Wouldn't that constitute as transformative
I have a lot of
content?
friends. Let's put it like this. I have a lot of friends that are business professionals, and they looked at this, and not only is it probably a pretty good case for copyright infringement, but it's also when people use terms like fraudulent, scamming, stuff like that to talk about my coaching stuff. I mean, it's just definitively...
Okay, so...
Yeah, that's a slander case as well.
Slander like that, you could probably have a case, especially if if you could prove malice and stuff like that behind it, or did they try to use their own
because when you're
profit?
talking about transformative, that's the thing, is people use those terms like transformative. That's why it's a 4-factor test for copyright infringement. It's not as cut and dry as, oh, it's transformative, so therefore everything just goes out the fucking window. That's just not how the law works, right? The way the law works is they'd factor that in. They'd be like, oh, well, this person added their commentary to it. Yeah, how much of that commentary, right? How much of that commentary outweighs the fact that you're trying to basically sabotage the dude, right? That's why I would say that even though, yes, I understand, I hear the argument of transformative content, I'm saying that it doesn't outweigh the fact that the person clearly has a business agenda. There's no hiding it, right? If the guy has a coaching site, or if the person has a coaching business, right? You'll notice that people say things on these videos like, oh, I saw one dude, he made a coaching video, right? Just like this. Went on to critique, right? Say somebody's coaching content's better than mine, and then the very next day he has a coaching site now. Well, isn't that fucking ironic? Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, you could probably prove intent in that case, yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying, is that, like, yes, I'm not stupid. I understand. Dude, I'm a content creator. I'm all for people making content out of my videos, right? Why is it then, though, that people are taking this like weird, like, and what brought this up is that you messaged me and you said, Neace, do an interview. That doesn't happen. I would say most of the time, about 85% of the time, people don't even want to talk to me, right? They just want to go and shit on me, farm their internet points, right?
I wanted to ask you, like, how many people, like, you had disagreements with, wanted you to have, like, some sort of conversation? Like
No,
this?
they never do. No, because that would humanize me more, right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree for sure.
It's easier to dehumanize me, post a meme, say I'm scamming, and then go about your day. I mean, I agree. It's super easy.
Yeah, and in cases like scamming, those are big words, like scamming and stuff like that. You would have to prove, like, they would have to prove that you are in fact scamming in that case.
Well, considering all of my videos and gameplay over the years, for the last 10 years, are on my YouTube channel, I think I can make a pretty good argument that whether or not you disagree with my credibility level or whatever, right? Like, even in the case of somebody saying like, oh, Neace isn't Challenger. Challenger what? You say Challenger NA. Well, I could argue that it doesn't really fucking matter, because clearly I made Challenger on LAN too, right? And that does have a screenshot with it. And I have this stupid Challenger backpack that doesn't fucking matter. Not saying it matters, but if you're going to make Challenger tags matter, then you have to factor that in too. You see what I'm saying? Like, the people aren't buying my coaching because they think that I'm the best player in the universe. That's super fucking stupid. The best players in the universe are people that I learned from, right? And I simplified what they did, right? Like Dopa, for example. How many people speak Korean? I don't speak Korean. I studied a lot of Dopa stuff, and I just looked at how he plays, and I go, oh, I'm going to copy this and play Twisted Fate. Guess what? Pretty good at Twisted Fate now. No one can deny that I'm good at the game. They can only really contest whether or not I'm, X good, right? Like Y good. But even that just shows that they don't understand their own market. They just don't understand.
Yeah, I think at that point it doesn't really matter. Like, honestly, what it matters is, like,
you know who Magi Felix is, right?
Yep.
Magi Felix, right? He's terrorized the EOS ladder forever. How many roles can Magi Felix make Challenger on if he wants?
All of them.
All of them. You know how much he charges for coaching?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
70.
Damn. What a lad.
70. And that's the thing, is that we could sit here and say, oh, well, Magi Felix is the man, right? But that's the thing. It's not about that. It's about how you convey information, right? No disrespect to Magi Felix or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that some people are just better equipped to communicate complicated things and to make it efficient use of their time to get to the next step. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm the best player in the world.
Yeah, I mean, that's
right?
fairly obvious. I don't think, like, anyone reasonable would imply that.
But I am now, because now they're going to have me play in Korea, and I'm going to be, and then I'm going to get high elo in Korea, and you believe me, I want you to hear it right now, motherfucker.
Hear it.
If I make high elo, and I will, if I make high elo, I'm going to flame the shit out of everyone that's never done it. Do you understand?
Okay.
Because it never mattered to me. It never mattered to me, right? But now, when I do it, since they made it matter so much, you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, you know they're gonna fire back though in the opposite case.
But it doesn't matter because none of them will have the credibility. And then I go, ooh, you had no credibility. Oh, you're not a good player. You're not even remotely as good as me. Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait because I'm still, even though I'm, I'm still, I guess, as a coach, I'm still very competitive.
I mean, you are. You're playing the same shitty game.
How did I get here if I'm not somewhat competitive?
Oh, for sure.
Dumb bet.
For sure, I understand. Cool. That's can't wait to see how that pans out. This was
You don't believe, do you? You don't believe in Big Daddy Neace?
I've never been in Korea, so I can't
macro,
really say.
dude?
I
don't believe in the king of macro, dude?
Okay. My prediction is GM. Okay.
Okay.
That's my prediction. Although I've never played Korea, so it might be faulty here.
I'll say that US and Korea are pretty close these days, from what I can tell.
Right? Really?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I always thought the US was superb. I always thought it was really good.
Oh, superb.
I didn't know.
So you're saying I should be there?
I mean, yeah, you should get EU. I don't think anyone will question your credibility if you get EU 1K LP Challenger. That's just...
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's over 1K now.
They better not.
Yeah, like once you get to Master, it's just like you complete a tutorial. It's, okay, good luck playing now.
How high did you hit on the US?
Rank 19 was my peak.
Yeah, I feel like you've got to try Korea and see if you think it's...
I mean, I pride myself being able to get Challenger on any server. So, I mean, I have to prove that next year, obviously. I'll do that. But yeah, I don't know how high I can get. Because Vel'Koz is pretty much a shit champion to climb. He's very low impact.
I was going to ask you about it. How does he feel right now?
He's so good. Like, he's so good, but in competitive. But in solo queue, he's trash.
Oh.
Okay? Because the champion is in a really good spot, and he's got very good mid-game spikes. The thing is, mid-game spikes are irrelevant for solo queue, because everything is just either early-game stomp or late-game comeback. Mid-game spikes
Interesting way of reading it.
Yeah, mid-game spikes are teamfight spikes, which people don't capitalize on in solo queue because they can't play the team. There's no voice chat, you can't do shit. You don't play objectives correctly. So that's one of the reasons why. The second reason is, like, he's low impact. If you have Vel'Koz 5-0, like, you're going to have minimal advantage over the enemy, like Victor, let's say.
Right, because you can't
still
get off of
He's still
tower,
Victor.
really.
He's still, yeah, you're not gonna like do Kiana fucking Rome and one-shot everyone on the map by existing. Right? So it's like it's a different game you're playing. So you're gonna have to play. It's basically like, to say you can't climb on the champ would be stupid, but it's just gonna take you way more games because the expected value, like in poker terms, EV.
You gotta work with me more to
your expected
more often,
value is gonna be,
we have a lot of similar views on the game. We got to work together more.
Sure, man. Like I'm down for stuff. I remember that one time you were asking me like to pop in on the Vel'Koz coaching, but it was a fucked up time for me.
No, you're good. Yeah, it's sometimes if I catch people, like I had wrist on one. Garen won. I was like, Rich, you want some free PR here?
Did they tell him to flash Q?
So what do you say? You saying that Garen isn't complex, buddy? He's very complex.
True.
Yeah. You know, I have a funny story about that. You phase rush Garen. Okay. So this is like a summary of like even things that you would think would be simple, they're not all the time. So like I was playing Garen top with phase rush and like, I don't know, it was like plat, diamond, MMR, NA, right? And I was just fucking around. This is before I moved out here to Korea. I was just fucking around and playing him. And I kept trying to beat the Darius lane with phase rush. And in my head, I'm like, okay, you just auto QE. It's fucking simple, right? And I kept like ramming my head against the wall, losing to this Darius matchup, right? Well, the obvious answer was you just walk up and auto E and then Q him. Like you toggle the E off, right? And then Q him.
Yeah.
Because if you try to auto Q E and run away, he grabs you and fucks you
get
up.
pulled. So
But
it's
if you
like
auto EQ, right.
yeah, the quick disengage, I guess.
Right, but the thing is it's so obvious, right? It sounds so stupidly obvious, but at the time, I just couldn't, like couldn't get my fucking stupid brain to like try the other order, right? Like, I just couldn't do it.
I mean,
and then once it clicked, right, and then once it clicked, it was like a totally different lane matchup, and I was like, motherfucker, I could have just saved, you know, all these losses to this matchup if I just had some sort of IQ and thought about the order of phase rush, right? Because up until that point, like I knew phase rush, like how to get it kind of, but I never really tried. So that just goes to show you that even something as simple as fucking Garen, you could screw it up and look like a moron.
And like
I was feeding all
I've
over the
learned
place.
that lesson like a very long time ago. So I always tell this to people when I'm like either coaching or I'm talking about like improvement and stuff. So when I finally got to high elo, I know like that was pre-season 3. I finally got to high elo and I was playing versus the best players in the mid lane in the world, basically, because it's EU. So I ended up going against Xpeke. So that was like a huge learning moment for me because I got humbled. He picked Zed and I got Fizz, which was a pretty good counter back in the day, especially because you just get Zhonya's and you're chilling. Like you outscale.
Right.
So I picked that, but I wasn't aware at the time that he could exploit some of the weaknesses I had early game. And he didn't level up his shurikens. He leveled up his Z. He maxed out with Z, which was like unheard of for me at the time. And he kind of shitstomped me in early game. And he built up enough advantages in early game for me. Like he punished me on CS here and there, you know, and with the E max. Yeah. So I just couldn't farm properly. And then I was like, wait, this is paradigm shifting completely because I thought this matchup was winning for free. Like I just drafted in my head. I was like, okay, I'm gonna beat Xpeke, you know. So it's like a very good learning moment to get humbled like that you can actually play things differently. You don't have to like comply with the countering. You can just adapt.
Well, that's what makes the game good is that like you'll see shit like that.
Yeah.
You'll see shit like that you can't pause. And that's why I tell people like it's so stupid to be a hindsight hero of sorts and be like, obviously that was the answer because of blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, that's why it's always so disingenuous for people to be shitting on my coaching in my head is because it's like, dude, I can't know everything and neither can the client. And why are you pretending like you do?
Yeah, I
like,
agree. Makes sense.
What a bunch of douchebags. But anyways, I'll leave you to your... I'll leave you to your stream, man. We'll talk again sometime.
Yeah, sure. Good old 3 a.m. It was a great talk, man. Ran longer than I thought. I thought we were gonna be done with the but we kind of rambled on. It's pretty cool. We touched on a lot of things. And I think people,
You're saving me time.
I think people are gonna be satisfied with a lot of the lines of dialogue we went through, and I think I went through most of like the contentious points. I don't know. I hope people can like watch this coherently and kind of make up their minds instead of just like going along with the Twitter narrative. I mean, they can still hate you after watching this. Like hell yeah, they can be like, fuck this capitalistic scumbag taking money and all that shit. They can do whatever they want. Like that's totally cool.
Yeah, they're allowed to do that.
It's just that allowed to do that. You know, it's better than to just follow like along one opinion.
Oh man, well, thanks for doing this. I hope you and your stream have a good rest of your stream, and let me know about the Korea trip too when that comes up.
Will do. Okay. Yeah, when I go there, I'll hit you up then. Sure.
All right, man. Peace out, brother.
Thanks, man, for the talk. Later. Good luck. You just watched pilot episode of Beyond the Void podcast, where we explore various topics. If you want to support, follow me on other things, and I hope you enjoyed it. Come on, man. Be more emotional. It's a fucking pilot, dude. What do you want from me? It's a pilot and it's 3 a.m.